Now we know that in arrays always index start with 0. The function declared within the class must be defined separately outside the class. So this is the concept of function definition outside the class. So the object of a class are declared in the same manner like any other variable declaration. So array having a class type elements is known as array of objects. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science Revision Classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Students, let us continue our discussion with the same chapter 7, Classes and Objects. Now let us start our session with the concept, a outside class definition. So in our previous session, we have learned that the class definition inside a class. Let us see how the outside the class definition works. Now here, the function declared as a member of a class is known as member function. So this is, we know that what is a member function? The functions which are declared inside a class are called member functions. And member function declared within a class must be defined separately outside the class. So in our previous session, we have learned how to define the class inside the class. So now in this example, here the function declared within the class must be defined separately outside the class. So this is the concept of function definition outside the class. The definition of member function is similar to normal function, but a member function has an identity label. It has a label in the header file. Now, the scope of the member function is limited to the class mentioned in the header. So the scope, the scope of the member function is limited to the class mentioned in the header only. Now, the scope resolution operator is used to define the member function outside the class. So what is the concept here? So here it is possible to define the class even outside the class. So first we have to declare the class within the class, and definition can be written outside the class by using this scope resolution operator. So this is the concept of function definition outside the class. Now let us see the syntax of this. So here the syntax is return type space class name, and this is the operator, scope resolution operator, and name of the function, member function, with arguments or without arguments, and open the bracket and here close that. Within that we have function body. This is how to define the function outside the class. This is the syntax of that. Now in the next slide, let us see some example now. Here the program starts with the header file. After header file, class operation, name of the class. Inside that we have private data members A and B, and public we have function, that is get data with the arguments, and here function without arguments and int product. These are all the function declared inside the class operation. So this is function declaration as a data member. So for this we have to write the function definition outside the class. Next one is void operation colon get data and with arguments. So this is what you have seen in the slide, the syntax of defining a member function outside the class. So we are following this with the help of this syntax. This is, we have written this function definition outside the class. Here get data is the function, operation is name of the class, and here this is scope resolution operator. So here these are the statement A equal to X and B equal to Y. Next we are defining one more function sum. It is operation is name of the class, scope resolution operator, and sum is name of the function which has been declared inside the class. Now this is the body of the function. So this is how to define the function outside the class with the help of scope resolution operator. Now in this example, in the previous slide we have seen the definition of that. Now in the main program, this is a void main, this is a main function. Here as usual, first step is creation of an object of a class. So this is operation is name of a class. X is a variable identifier. It is an object of a class operation. Then after that we have to call the function. We have to invoke the functions one by one. So X is name of the object dot get data. Get data and 10, 20 are the argument list. As we have seen in the previous example, this function get data, which takes two arguments x and y. So we supposed to give value at this stage here. So get data, and next function is x dot sum. X is an object here, sum is name of a function, and here this function without any argument. So this is a complete program to show the working of a class, a member function outside the class. So we have learned how to define the function outside the class, and in the main function we are calling each and every functions through this object of a class and with arguments or without arguments. Next concept is defining object of a class. Now you know how to create an object of a class. One method what you have seen generally is this is the one method. Here name of the class space x, that is the name, that is the identifier that indicates an object of this particular class. So in another syntax, see here another syntax is that once the class is defined, an object is created from the class. So the object of a class are declared in the same manner like any other variable declaration. Now let us see the syntax of that. So here class, the reserved word, class name, user defined name, open the bracket, and class we have closed here with the semicolon. And in between this, as a body of the class, we have private data members or member functions, or it can have public member data or member functions. And please observe this here, after semicolon, we have user defined name object 1, comma object 2. So here this is user defined name. It is one object, comma second object. So we can create a number of objects of this particular class with the help of this syntax. In the next slide, let us see an example here. So how to define the object of a class? This is an example class student, and this is a body of the class, and we are closing the class here with semicolon. Immediately after that, you can see the student. So student is name of the class and obj1, comma obj2. Here these are all user defined variables. So obj1 is one object, obj2 is another object of the class student. So this is another method of defining an object of a class. So this is obj1 and obj2 are the object of a class student. So this is an example to show defining object of a class. In the next slide, concept is array as a member of a class. So what you have seen in the previous slide or previous examples, a class may have a data members or a member data as well as member function. So but this concept is, so we are having array as a data member. So here look at the example here. This says, look, example is to read values into an array and display the same. Suppose I want to write a program with the help of an arrays. Please observe this. The program starts with the header files, then class marks. Here we are defining a class marks. Inside this, these are all data members and member function, and here int m comma 5. So here if you say m comma 5, so this square bracket, it indicates an array. So m is an array of size 5. So this, here inside the class as a data member, a member data, we have an array here. So that is a concept of array as a member of a class. So it is possible for us to use array inside a class. Array of objects. So we have seen in the previous slide how to work with arrays. We are declaring array, working with an array with the help of a class or inside a class. Next one is array of objects. So array having a class type elements is known as array of objects. An array of object is declared after class definition and is defined in the same way as any other array. So here now you know how to create an object of a class. See here, if you look at the previous syntax, in the previous syntax we have learned how to define object of a class. So if you look at this example here, user defined name object 1 and object 2 are the two individual object or two different object of the class, this class. But in the place of one object, it is possible to have an array as a object of array. So that is a concept of array of objects. So here now look at the example now. Class employee is the name of the class. Character name, here we have an array as a member data of a class, and other variables and member function get data and display data. Then we are closing the class. Now by following the same syntax what you have seen in the previous slides, so this is employee space supervisor of 3. Please know this, concentrate here. So supervisor of size 3, here square bracket represents as an array. So here supervisor is an array of size 3. So that is a concept of array of object. So here employee sales executive 5. So here employee is name of an object, and after that we have this is an object here, sales executive, and the size is 5. So it is an array of element 5 or array of size 5. And employee is the name of a class and team leader of 10. So if you observe this, all these are objects of arrays. So here this is an array again of size 3, array of size 5, array size of 10. So all these are an example for array of objects. Now in the next slide, let us see how we can represent in computer memory. So in the above example, array supervisor. If you observe supervisor in the previous slide, supervisor of size 3. So supervisor contains 3 objects, namely supervisor 0, 1 and index 2. Now we know that in arrays always index start with 0. So based on that, supervisor is name of an array. So this is the first index, supervisor of 0 is the first index, supervisor of 1 is second index, and supervisor of 2 is next index. So accordingly, this array supervisor, it consists of, there are 3 elements or 3 objects here. In this example, this is array of object, this is an object here. So if you look at the index supervisor of 0, means the first index contains the data members, name and average. And similarly, the next index, that is supervisor 1, means the second object, it again contains the data, name and age. So this is the meaning of array of objects. Here these are all objects and are with the name supervisor as an array. So this is the concept of array of objects. In the next concept, we say object as a function argument. So we know what are a function, and function arguments are parameters. So here it is possible to have objects. Now we know what is an object, you know how to create an object of a class. So next, this is the same object as a function argument. It means it is possible to have an object as a function argument. So the function can receive an object as a function argument. And this is similar to any other data type being sent as a function argument. Now in the next slide, see. Now an object can be passed to a function in 2 methods. There are 2 methods to pass an object to a function. Here the first one is pass by value. Here the copy of entire object is passed to a function. So here in an argument, as we are passing an object as an argument, the entire object, the copy of the entire object is passed to the function argument. This is passed by value method. Next one is a copy of the object is passed to a function. Means in pass by value method, a copy of the object is passed and the function creates its own copy of the object and uses it. Please concentrate here, or please try to understand the concept here. It is in pass by value method, we are passing the copy of the object. So the function works with the copy of the object and not the original values. That have to be noted here. and therefore the changes made to the object inside the function do not affect the original object. So this is the one of the characteristics of pass by value. In pass by value, as it is working with the copy of the object, so it doesn't have any effect on the original value. So any changes takes place or made inside the function, it is limited only inside the function, and when it comes out, the control comes out of the function, it doesn't have any impact on or effect on original values. So this is one method, pass by value method. In next method or second method, it is pass by reference method. So what is pass by reference method? Here the only address of the object is transferred to the function. So here in the previous example, we are passing the copy of the object, but here we are passing the address of the object as a reference. So when an address of object is passed to the function directly works on the original object used in the function call. So here, as we are passing the address of the object, the function directly works with the original value or original object, and this means that changes made to the object inside the function will reflect in the original object. So here any changes made inside the function of an object, so it has an impact or effect on the original value, as because it is working with the address, it directly works with the original value. So because of that, any changes made inside the function, it has an effect on the original value. So this is pass by reference method. In pass by value method, it works with the function argument. The function works with the copy of the object, so it doesn't have an impact on the original data or original value. But in pass by reference method, as we are passing the address of the object, so the function directly works with the original object and it has an impact on the or effect on the original value. There is a difference between pass by value and pass by reference method. Now let us see an example program here. It is object as a function argument. So it's a program to show arguments to function, call by value method. Now let us, the first method is call by value method. So the program starts with header file, then class value, and this is the definition of a class. Under private we have int data equal to 3, this is a variable. Public we have change and int data, this is the function with the argument, and closing the class here. Next we have to write the function definition. Now it is outside the class, and its void value is the name of the class, and with the scope resolution operator, change is name of the function here, and we are passing in data. Now here data equal to 5. Please note down here, we are changing the value here, data equal to 3, and inside the function we have changed the value of data to 5 here. So in the main function, we first step we have to create an object of a class. Value v, value is name of a class, v is an object. Next v dot change, we are invoking a function with the argument. So here data is the argument. So when we pass the value here, next after that we are printing the value. The value of the data is data. Now we observe this here. At the beginning we have given the value as of data as equal to 3. Inside the function that we have changed the value of data to 5 here. But when you come to this, when the compiler executes this statement, it comes here and data, we are passing the value as data here 3, and inside this it has an effect inside this. So inside the function value changes from 3 to 5, but when you comes out of the function here at this line, the value of the data is data, so it's going to print the original value, that is 3. So this is call by value method. So here the function, it works with the copy of the data, so it doesn't have any impact on the original values. So this is an example program to show the call by value method. Now in the next one, we will see another example. It is object as an argument. Now this is second, there is pass by reference method. It is object as an argument. The program is with the header file, values, everything is same here also. And here observe that void change int ampersand. We are using the concept of pointers and ampersand here. Ampersand stands for address of operator. So here again this is a function definition outside the class. Here we say data equal to 5. Then in the main function, creation of object, call the function or invoke the function. Then here data. Now if you observe this, in the next line is going to print the value of data as a 5 here, as a 5. Now we can note down the difference between this program and in the previous program. In the previous program, output was 3. Now in this one, output is 5 in pass by reference method or call by reference method. Address of the data, so it has an effect on the original value. So any changes made inside the function, here the changes made at 5 inside the function, it has an effect on original value. So in the next line is going to print the latest value stored in the variable data. So this is an example program to show the working of call by reference method or pass by reference method. In the next slide, we will see the difference between structure and a class. So here in C++, structure is a class defined with the keyword struct. Its members and base classes are public by default. So what is structure? We have learned in the previous year in first PUC. Structure is a class defined with the keyword struct. Here we have to use the word reserve struct, then give the name of the structure, and its members by default is public. I mean, the members of a data structure or structure can be accessed by any function or anyone outside the structure. But here a class is defined with the reserved class. So here now we have learned what is a class and how to work with the class. So that is the difference between structure and a class. Dear students, so far we have discussed about the important concept of the chapter classes and object. Now let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you very much.